Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with another action figure review. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Time for AEW Dynamite on TNT. It's night 2 of New Year's Smash, and I'm just happy they filmed both nights at the same time last week, because again, COVID-19 has reared its ugly head. So I'm just gonna get this out of the way quickly. People need to take COVID more seriously. Literally every major North American wrestling promotion was affected this week, including WWE Champion Drew McIntyre testing positive and possibly having to miss the Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, in AEW, we just found out that Nick Jackson had COVID back in September, which not only kept him off TV, it left him bedridden for weeks. So wear your damn mask and stop playing games with people's lives. With that out of the way, if you're new here, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more pro wrestling and action figure content. Now, we're headed into my custom dailies place, so for a recap and review, let's take it over to the action figures. Dynamite kicks off with Eddie Kingston vs. Pac. A video package recaps how Eddie tried to break up Death Triangle while Pac was stuck in England during lockdown. Then, he had the Butcher and the Blade attack Pac and Pentagon during Phoenix's title match the other week. So does that make the Bastard the babyface in this feud? Both men come to the ring with their respective tag teams, but Pac skips his entrance so he can immediately dive on Kingston and take control from the opening bell. Although the Lucha Brothers are able to keep the family at bay, they can't stop the Bunny from getting in a cheap shot. It's a great brawl until Pac nails a Black Arrow for the win. But that's not good enough after what Eddie put him through, so he sinks in the Brutalizer. All 6 men from both teams fill the ring when suddenly Lance Archer storms out and chases off Eddie's family. Neither he nor Pac are traditional babyfaces though, so despite Jake the Snake trying to keep the peace, they scream in each other's faces until Archer storms off. Next up, Chuck Taylor is accompanied by freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy as he takes on the best man Miro. If you recall from last week, the stipulation is that if Chuck loses, he'll have to serve as Miro's young boy until Kip and Penelope's wedding at Beach Break. I can't recall Chucky T ever being this fired up. He takes it right to Miro, throwing him out of the ring and slamming him into the barricades with a smile from ear to ear. Cassidy gives him a limp-wristed high five in celebration, which prompts an attack from Kip. Chuck mule kicks him in the face, then turns around and knees Miro in the face, but his momentum doesn't last long. Eventually, the Bulgarian sinks in the game over and forces Chuck to tap out. Miro drags his new young boy to the stage as Kip Sabian taunts Orange Cassidy with a cardboard cutout of Trent. Personally, I love all these guys and can't wait to see what hilarious antics they pull in the lead up to the wedding. The Hardy Party is backstage with Dasha to talk about Matt officially becoming the team's manager as of last week. At first, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy play along and talk up Matt's iconic status in the business. But Quinn can't keep up the facade for very long. They call out Matt's ridiculous percentage in their contracts and accuse him of being greedy. He snaps back and abruptly ends the interview. The Inner Circle comes out to their usual chorus of Judas to announce their New Year's resolutions. This is the first time the entire group has been together in 2021, and they want to get things started off on the right foot. Jake Hager goes first and simply wants more championships. Fair enough. MJF wants to continue strengthening the bonds of the Inner Circle. Oh, and fat people need to go. Ortiz wants to learn how to cook some of his grandma's famous recipes. Then Jericho says this is the year he and MJF are going to win the AEW Tag Team Championships, which surprises everyone else, most notably Santana. He's confused because Jericho handpicked himself and Ortiz as the Inner Circle's tag team. Sammy chimes in and calls Jericho a tag team slut, eliciting chants from the crowd. He brings up Jericho's team with Hager, their team like Sex Gods, and even questions Jericho's friendliness towards Snoop Dogg last week. MJF tries to calm things down, but gets cut off by Sammy, so Jericho steps in and proposes a triple threat match next week to determine who from the inner circle gets to go after the tag team gold on their quest for, as Hager puts it, more championships, yeah! It'll be MJF and Jericho versus Proud and Powerful versus Sammy and Hagar, a Van Halen joke that I totally made before Jericho pointed it out. I swear, I have witnesses. MJF wraps things up by once again being uncharacteristically supportive and promising unity regardless of the outcome. It seems to work as he manages to convince them all to put their middle fingers in and pose for the camera. Alex Marvez is with the Dark Order in their hangout and asks about the Brody Lee tribute episode of Dynamite. Evil Uno says it was an important night that inspired them all to do better moving forward, and it starts next week when they team with Adam Page. John Silver grabs Hangman from off camera and tries to interview him, but can only manage to declare his love, so Alex Reynolds comes right out and asks when Page is going to let them know about joining Dark Order. He says next week, prompting a celebration as he casually walks away. Another video package recaps the feud between Team Taz and Darby Allin to get us hyped up for their match later tonight. On their way to the ring, Dasha stops the Young Bucks, Don Callis, and AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, but at Don's urging, they elect to do separate entrances, meaning here are your Omega fun facts for the evening.
He has held the AEW title for 42 days. His victory against Phoenix was his 14th straight singles win. He has an AEW best 36 total victories. He has not teamed with the Elite in 144 days.
Wait, that was weird.
He was the first AEW contracted talent to appear on an Impact pay-per-view, and he is considered a hero in North Carolina, but a legend in his hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
The Invisible Hand grabs a mic and says he and Kenny helped put the band back together because they're not allowed to say Bullet Club. He gives an elaborate intro for Kenny's best friends and the best tag team in the world, the Good Brothers. The Impact Tag Team Champions appear, and apparently the three of them will be taking on Danny Limelight and the Varsity Blondes. Matt and Nick Jackson are in gorilla position with Tony Khan, shaking their heads while watching a monitor correctly and seeing everything unfold in the ring. Kenny and the Good Brothers jump their opponents as an indignant Tony Schiavone clarifies that the AEW Tag Team Champs, who happen to be the Young Bucks, are in fact the greatest tag team in the world. It's a glorified squash match. Brian Pillman does run wild on a hot tag, but otherwise it's all Bullet Club. Gallows and Anderson get the win with the Magic Killer. Out of nowhere, Jon Moxley's music plays and he comes down from the stands. He doesn't care that he's hopelessly outnumbered and goes straight for Omega. The Lucha Brothers run out and attack the Good Brothers before other wrestlers rush in to break things up. Moxley chases after Kenny, only to be stopped by the Young Bucks, but they turn around into a pair of super kicks from Penta and Phoenix, which draws out SCU and even more officials from the back, devolving into complete and utter chaos. Going back to my intro about COVID, Thunder Rosa came into contact with someone who tested positive, although thankfully she didn't catch it herself. So now, she's stuck in quarantine, and instead of her match against Britt Baker, we're getting the Dynamite debut of the Waiting Room with special guest Cody Rhodes. The Doctor opens by tricking the audience into thinking there's gifts under their seats. Before introducing Cody, she makes fun of his neck tattoo, then brings him out with sparklers. She congratulates him and Brandy on their pregnancy, with Britt quipping that their kid will probably get an action figure before she does. Before he can get a word in edgewise, Britt says she actually has another surprise guest and brings out Jade Cargill. Jade says she's glad Brandy will be out for 9 months, then demands Cody find her a new opponent. She hits Cody in the face, which brings out Red Velvet. The height difference is striking. I'm sure Jade was wearing heels, but damn, she must have had a solid foot on Red Velvet. A slap fight reminiscent of Jerry Springer ensues as members of the women's roster desperately try to pull them apart until Cody manages to drag Red Velvet out. Suddenly, a clip of Britt Baker attacking Thunder Rosa a few weeks ago plays on the Tron, followed by a video message from Rosa herself. She says Baker only likes her talk show because she can stick her big nose in other people's business, but at some point, Britt will have to wrestle. Luckily, Tony Khan understands how big this match is, and he's already scheduled it for Beach Break. The dentist freaks out as the graphic displays confirming the match. Jurassic Express comes out to Jungle Boy's new theme music, Tarzan Boy by 80s synth band Baltimora. Tony Khan literally bought the rights to this song in perpetuity as a Christmas present to Jungle Boy because billionaire's gonna billionaire. Marco Stunt ran his mouth to FTR last week, so he's taking Luchasaurus' place against the top guys tonight. He starts things off and shows a lot of grit, but FTR easily handle any offense he can muster. Jungle Boy turns the tide each time he tags in, but it's just not enough. Even a low blow and sliced bread from Mr. Funsize can't get the pin. On the outside, Tully slams Marco's head into the ring post behind the ref's back before Cash Wheeler catches Jungle Boy with a clothesline that sends him into the barricade. With him out of the picture, FTR hit Marco with the big rig and pick up the victory. There's been all kinds of speculation about whether or not Ty Conti is officially in the Dark Order. As far as I know, she never accepted their formal invitation, and she still comes out of the babyface tunnel even when she's joined by the rest of Dark Order. Regardless, her best friend Anna Jay is at ringside for her NWA Women's World Title match against Serena Deeb. AEW have done a good job in recent weeks building up Ty Conti as a genuine threat by showcasing her legitimate martial arts background. The title being on the line gives this match real stakes, and it's worked like the technical battle that the NWA Championship deserves. After a commercial, Serena has the stretch muffler locked in, then transitions into a rope-assisted gory special. But despite showing off her submission skills for most of the match, Serena hits a Deeb tox, which is kinda like a modified pedigree, from out of nowhere and retains her title. A dejected Ty apologizes to Anna for losing. In our main event, Darby Allin defends the TNT title against the FTW champion Brian Cage. Taz joins commentary to defend all his recent actions, while Hook and Ricky Starks head to ringside. Between the weigh-in, the introductions, and the presentation of that gorgeous belt, this truly had a big fight feel. Darby immediately kicks Cage to the outside and nails him with a tope suicina, but the machine catches him in mid-air on the second one and reverses it into a suplex on the concrete. Back in the ring, he military presses Darby, then throws him all the way over into the timekeeper's area like it's nothing. Allin violently crashes through a table which explodes underneath him. Now busted open and bleeding all over the canvas, Darby gets thrown around the ring as Brian Cage does his best Brock Lesnar impression and takes the champ to Suplex City. After a commercial, he even does an F5, but Darby shockingly kicks out at 1. Stark's face says it all. So Cage delivers 3 consecutive power bombs, but Allin just defiantly flips him off. Another power bomb to the stage, and a superplex also only gets a 1 count. At this point, Taz and friends are apoplectic. Cage sets up some steps next to the ring, but Darby reverses a fireman's carry to lay out the machine on them instead. He nails a coffin drop, then uses his own belt to tie Cage's legs together and pummels him in the back of the head. When Cage frees himself, Starks and Hook distract the ref and attack Darby. Suddenly, the lights go out and Sting appears. He takes out Starks with his bat, allowing Darby to reverse a Samoan drop and get the pin. Your winner and still TNT champion, Darby Allin. Snow falls as he and the Stinger stare down Team Taz to close out the show. This match was actually 9 months in the making and culminated in a perfect David vs. Goliath story. If you question my use of the word perfect there, let me drop this truth bomb from Reddit. In May of last year, Darby lost to Cody Rhodes in the TNT title tournament, making him 0-3 against the American Nightmare. In that match, Cody won by rolling up Darby in a crucifix pin after he had just hit the coffin drop. In the throwaway interview, Taz tried to recruit Darby for the first time by claiming to know what he did wrong. Allin rebuked him by citing his amateur wrestling accolades, which pissed off Taz and put Darby in his crosshairs. Then, in this match, after getting brutally ragdolled the entire time, Darby counters a Samoan drop with a crucifix pin. He defiantly proved right in front of Taz's eyes that he didn't need his help and could learn from his own mistakes, even beating Taz's hand-picked monster. Absolutely brilliant. What can I say? Every single episode of Dynamite is a masterpiece. AEW has shattered the curve when it comes to the expectations for a weekly wrestling product. In my eyes, nobody else is even competing, let alone coming close to what this promotion is putting out. Not only do they have great matches, characters, and storylines, but they use legends and celebrities correctly. They know how to properly balance established stars with rising talent, and they give their fans all the ancillary stuff that breeds loyalty, like merch, video games, social media interaction, and yes, even action figures. All aspects of this company have been executed flawlessly, including, like always, this episode of Dynamite. So instead of a rating, I'd just like to say, thank you. Alright, that'll do it for Night 2 of New Year's Smash. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I have a special bonus action figure review coming out this weekend related to the podcast that I do with some of my friends, so definitely check that out. Otherwise, I'll be back next Thursday with my review of Dynamite. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on Twitter at PSUOptimus, or see all my best figure photography over on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen my latest wrestling merch unboxing, you can check that out right here. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.